So let's get back to the football. It's a huge weekend for Newcastle, who welcome Man City to St James Park. Newcastle have been near perfect in Europe so far, but it's a different story in the league. Just 3 wins from their 11 games. The former Newcastle defender Warren Barton joined the breakfast show last week, declared that things aren't actually as bad as it seems. He's backed Eddie Howe to turn it around.
2 performances, really. You looked at it's heartbreaking against Arsenal and the Liverpool games. But other than that they've been competitive in all the games. And European football, I know, you play Saturday, big games against European football, and then you go against the weekend. But that can be an excuse. But he will get it 100% right, Eddie. There's no doubt about that. But there are, facts and actually areas where the 2 fullbacks, Tino Livramento, he's not been involved. Yeah. Hall will come in. Dan Burns, I love him, but he's a centre-half. He's not a left-back.
Yeah,
They did that 18 months ago and tried to get him out there, but Hall will come back. But Eddie, I heard a fan on your programme say, well, he should come in. But Hall's been out a long time. You've got to take people slowly to get in. He'll start the next game and Dan Burns will slide in, and then all of a sudden you've got a better balance. So I think there's a lot of things, but normally 9 times out of 10, Eddie's got it right.
Interesting. Warren Barton, former Newcastle man, back in Eddie Howe, but they've lost the last 2 in the Premier League. Newcastle conceding 3 in each. They didn't lose 3 in a row all last season. Premier League, home to Man City. You would make City favourites for that in their form. But I think there's bigger problems for Newcastle, Ray. Only Wolves, Leeds and Forest have scored fewer goals than Newcastle, and they keep dropping points from winning positions. There's nobody in the Premier League who's dropped more points from winning positions than Newcastle. So the signs aren't good. Nobody's really saying Eddie Howe has got to go or anything like that. But he's got to improve things.
He's got to improve things. There's no doubt about that. But if you look at their squad itself, he's had a few injuries here and there, but they're still a very good squad of players, isn't it? I mean, you look at the midfield area, Guimaraes, Tonali, Joelinton. You could argue one of the best 3 in that midfield area in the Premier League, because they're all very competitive players. Obviously, Isak leaving, going to Liverpool was a big loss for him. But Walter Mader's come in. You got Murphy on the wide areas, Barnes. You got options. Gordon hasn't been in great form. He's been lacking a little bit, but he's a super player when he's on his game. So they just need to turn it around now. And this could be the weekend where they do it against Man City. But Man City at the moment, it's all about Haaland, Foden. They've got so many players who are playing in good form at the moment. And everybody must look at Man City and say, how do we stop Haaland? And it's very, very difficult. And I'm sure whoever plays at the back, is Botman at the back, they'll be trying to get a game plan against him. But I wouldn't panic yet if you're Newcastle. They're going really well in the Champions League, which is very important in Europe. So I think they'll be okay, and they will move up that table. But at the moment, they need a big result, and it could be this weekend. Who knows?
Haaland needs 1 goal to join the 100 club.
He's amazing.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
His record is frightening. And Man City, obviously, I think he signed a 10-year contract, hasn't he? So he ain't gonna, if he doesn't beat, I know. Alan Shearer will be looking at it and saying, if he stays for those 10 years, he's got to be beating it. But it's all about Pep Guardiola, isn't it? What does Pep does?
Well, we thought he was going to go, and then he signed a new contract.
Would he stay again? Does he? It'd be interesting to see what happens after his contract.
He seems very happy. He seems. Otherwise, he wouldn't have signed again.
A lot of the time, Pep doesn't stay long, does he?
No.
He stays in little cycles, 3 or 4 years, and he went to Bayern Munich, obviously. But it seems to be really settled at Man City.
Are you, as a Gooner?
I think they're the big...
City are the big worry, are they?
I think so, yeah.
Let me give you the stat. 22 points so far this season. That's their lowest tally at this stage for 5 seasons.
Amazing. But, it's a situation where Liverpool are capable of winning 10 in a row. Man City are capable of winning 10 in a row. So I don't get carried away at the moment. All I want for Arsenal is to keep getting the results they're getting. You get carried away, it gets to March time, and you're in the title race, and you look at the run-ins, and you look at, every single point matters then. But it's just about ticking over now and keeping in that title race. And, I know we've had a couple of injuries in recent weeks, but Man City are capable of winning plenty of games.
You are definitely worried about Man City.
No, I'm worried about everybody because, I can just see at the end of it, the stick we're going to get if it comes second again. And I'm just hoping that they've started the season really well. Everybody thought the first 6 games, it's a difficult start, but they got through those 6 games really well. I know they lost to Liverpool, which was a magnificent free kick. But as I said before, you don't win a title in November, December, January. It's all about March time. Just been in the hunt, and then you look at that little push at the end of the season to get you over the line. And hopefully they've learnt from their mistakes for the last couple of years.
I was at the posh game with my son James last night, and he is, don't ask, but he's a Man City fan, okay? And I was asking him about Gabriel's injury, and he said, injury, no injury, it doesn't matter, City are going to win the league. He's so confident that City are going to win the league.
The only thing about Arsenal with Gabriel being out, which is a big loss, because him and Saliba arguably been one of the best centre-half partnerships in Europe. But they've got backup. They have got a little bit of backup behind them. Mascara can come in there. He done really well when he come on at Liverpool. I thought he looked a natural. Henkapia can come in, who's Leverkusen. He was strong, athletic,
good player, yeah.
Very good player. So they've got a little bit of Calafiori can play in central midfield, central back if you like. It could go to a three at the back. They've got options.
Yeah,
it's not like you've lost your key player. I know he's a key player, Gabriel, but there's other options who can come in, and that's why the unbeaten season. I'll go back to that because the only reason they said Arsene Wenger said that this team can go unbeaten is the backup. It wasn't 11 who's starting.
Right.
He knew he had subs.
So it's all about you.
No, he had subs who could come on. Say Henry and Bergkamp was out.
Yeah.
Right, that is a massive loss to the team. But you had Carnu, Wiltord and people like that could do a similar sort of job. Not as good as probably Henry and Bergkamp. I'm not saying that, but they can do a similar sort of job. So that's why I'm looking at this squad now. If Gabriel gets injured, if Saliba gets injured, if Declan Rice gets injured, they've got players who could probably do a similar sort of job to
It's
those.
taking you, what, hour and a half? He's brought up the draw-in.
I fancy Man City to win it.
Drew their weight at the time.
I think James is wrong anyway, your boy.